Hi everyone and welcome to Club 6, episode 1 of Rolling in the Isles, an FM22 British Isles Journeyman series with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So we have moved clubs. It's a bit of a long story. I'll get into it during the episode itself. But we find ourselves at Arsenal in the Premier League. A real good step up for us. A good opportunity to move a club forward that in the last 3 seasons have finished in the top 3. Every season, including 3 seasons ago, winning the Premier League. So there's some credentials there as well. Little bit of an imbalanced squad that we find. I've done some work on it. It's going to take a little bit of time. But I think this might be the club to get us where we want to be. Let's find out. Welcome to Arsenal Football Club. So yeah, it has been a really interesting time. For those that are very observant might notice that we've moved the game on a year since you and I were together last, and there's a reason for that. So originally, a year ago in the summer transfer window, it looked likely that I might be going to Chelsea. I had a real positive opportunity to go for that particular job. Lots of things in the press were going my way. So in the end, I felt it best. I felt like my time at Watford was coming to a close. I thought there were other opportunities out there. So I resigned my position at Watford. Then got a job interview at Chelsea, went through the interview process, and then didn't get the job. So it left me completely unable to get back into club management straight away. I have spent a whole season looking for other jobs, and nothing came up. There was 2 jobs in the Premier League that came up in that time, and both of them were in and around the relegation area, not something I was particularly interested in. So I bided my time, and then in this particular summer just gone, we're sitting on the 13th of August, ready to go for this new season. In this summer just gone, the Arsenal position came up. I applied for it, went through the interview, and ultimately got given the job. Kind of a bit of a relief, if I'm honest. After a whole year of trying to find a job, I wondered whether I would have to go down a level or something to get back up again. Who knew? But anyway, we are here at Arsenal, and they've done pretty well recently. If we go into the club info and then into history and look at the overview, last 3 seasons, first, second and third. They finished third last season, which obviously is a little bit down from where they have been winning the Premier League. But look at the jump up that they made just before that. So this team has gone places in the last couple of seasons, which is really positive. Gives us a good foundation. In terms of what we've got in the club, it was an imbalanced squad, and it was imbalanced for a number of reasons, and it still is a little bit. I think central defence needs working on. The age of the squad is a problem because ultimately, excuse me if you hear a noise outside, I've got my back door open, so there'll be a few other noises maybe. But the age of the squad was a bit of an issue. We've got a couple of 34, 35-year-olds in the first team at the moment. We haven't been able to change that this summer, but we will over the next couple of transfer windows where possible. And also the imbalance of homegrown players was not very good as in our favour either. There were hardly any in the first team squad when I arrived. So I've had to redress that balance slightly as well, which potentially reduces down the quality a little bit here and there, just while we get some youngsters into the group and boost them back up again. So little bit of a rebuild going on, not too much. There's still some very good players there. So let's go to our first team squad and just check out a couple of key players. So this is the squad that we've got, and the starting lineup at the top here on the left-hand side, then the substitutes, and then the people off the bench currently. We've got one major issue injury-wise, and that is another 3 to 4 weeks to Dwight McNeil, who is currently going to play on my left-hand side for me. Reasonably good. Again, 32 years old, but English, and we needed that, and he was already in the club, so we're keeping him about for the next season or so and seeing what we can do with him on that left-hand side. Other than that, everybody else has had a good pre-season, so they're all fit and healthy and raring to go. If we look through our first team squad a little bit, I won't necessarily talk too much about transfers in this particular episode because they're all new to us particularly, so we won't worry too much about the players I've specifically brought in. But what we've got, reasonably good goalkeeper in Lafont, but 33 years old, and that is one of those issues again, but he's good at least for the next season or so, if need be. Then we got the highest star rating in our team, Hamid Benabid, and he's a right fullback, but a very good attacking right fullback. 12 of tackling, but 14 in crossing. Those mentals are really strong, and so are the physicals. 18 pace, 18 acceleration, 20 agility, 17 balance. Anticipation is really high. First time touch is really good. Lots of really good mentals and physicals, and that crossing and dribbling in there as well. So we've got a really good right fullback, attacking one. But here's part of the issue. Left fullback, Kieran Tierney. Brilliant. 35 years old though, still got 13 pace. So for this season, he should be fine. He's got 1 year left on his contract. I don't think we'll be renewing it at this point. So this will be his final season. We need to figure out a replacement for him as we potentially go through. Central defence is potentially a weak spot. We've got two promising central defenders, not completed though. Here we go with Franco on our right-hand side of the pairing. Again, nothing wrong with him specifically, but is there a potential upgrade here? I think potentially yes as we move forward. And one of the guys that I've bought in just to bring some slightly younger blood, 22 years old, we got rid of a 33-year-old central defender to bring this guy in, is Lever. And again, not totally perfect in a couple of ways, but actually not too bad. And hopefully will do a good job for us this season. Into midfield, we have the likes of Gavi, who we all know, I'm sure, from our central midfield, now 28 years old, playing well for us and is a very good creative influence in that central midfield. Maybe, just maybe, lacks a little bit of pace, but other than that, everything else is in there that you need for a creative midfield player. And then into the attacking third, we've got the likes of Saka, who is still at the club age 30. We're playing him on the right-hand side at the moment. We might switch him to the left at various points for various reasons, but he's currently playing on the right, cutting in on his left foot. This guy's pretty decent as well. Bert Bayens can play right the way across that attacking midfield line on the left and the right as well, if need be, or more so on the right. But we're playing him more centrally because of the opportunity for a 14 in terms of long shots is decent. Composure is good on his shooting. And I just think as a central midfield player, he'll play better than a right winger. And then the other person that is slightly aging again, but still has quality about him just at the moment, Lautaro Martinez, 34 years old now. Still got all that you need, though, really, at this particular moment. And again, we are in the situation where he's got 1 year on his deal left, and I don't think he'll be getting a new one, even if he is this good at this point. So this is his swan song at Arsenal, really. But 16 finishing, 16 heading. We've got composure enough, but not brilliant. The rest of his mentals at 34 are excellent. Physicals, not too bad. They'll probably diminish as the season goes on, but this guy should still get us goals. And what I've done is I've tried to bring in a youngster behind him that's going to grow. And so I bought this player in, Fasanella, and he's a young 18-year-old Italian striker that we spent a little bit of money on, to be honest, but I think the potential is there for him to take over from Martinez next season and get some game time this time round. So those are some of the key players. There's others in there as well. I've bought some of them in, not all of them in. A lot of them were here already. It's a work in progress, but somewhere in this top four is where I'm aiming for this season. If we go into the league itself, let's go through the competition page and into the league, and then go into the season preview, you'll see they think we're fifth this time round. The two Manchester clubs are up there. Chelsea are up there as favourites for this particular season, and Wolves up there as well. Obviously doing very, very well over the last few seasons. Third for them in the predictions. The likes of Liverpool, who are our opponents today, first game out, that's tricky, in 6th. And then further down, you get the likes of Tottenham in there. And some of the other ones to look out for, the likes of Watford, our previous club. They struggled a little bit last season without me. And they finished, I think, down at about 15th, somewhere like that. But they're predicted about 14th place finish again. So some interesting days for Watford since I stepped down. So yeah, there you go. I mean, that's very, very briefly what's going on in and around the club. In terms of what the expectation is this season, it's reasonably high from a club that's got pretty much everything you need. We've got a really good stadium. We've been in the top 3 for the last 3 seasons. The minimum expectation is basically to challenge for European Champions League, try and get in that top 4, really. And so that's what we're going to try and do in our first season and see where it takes us. But we do have that tricky start. So how are we going to play this squad? It's simple, really. We've gone for a simple, fairly simple setup of a 4-2-3-1. I think it will work quite well for us. Obviously, McNeil is usually on this left-hand side. But other than that, most of our first team squad is around. I made a slight, not an error at all. I hadn't decided whether it's going to be Pobega, this guy, 33 years old, again, approaching the last year of his contract as well, in this slightly more defensive role in the Carrilero role, or whether it will be this guy, Carlos, at 26 years old, coming through the ranks a little bit behind Pobega. I feel like Pobega's got the experience, specifically if we go back to him, in the mentals a little bit, so we're going to give Pobega the start, but Carlos might take over during the season and embed himself alongside Gavi to potentially move forward after Pobega probably leaves. There's going to be quite a reshuffle next summer with a couple of key players moving on. So we'll see what happens with that. But for now, we focus on this particular season, 4-2-3-1. We're in a custom vertical tiki-taka. So we're going to try and keep the ball a little bit, try and frustrate the opposition by keeping the ball as much as we can, and then pressing them a little bit as well high up the pitch, just to see if we can keep them in their own defensive area and see where it takes us. And that's really it, really. That's as much as I can tell you at this point. We're going to get into some game time now. We're going to play Liverpool, and then over the next couple of episodes, we'll figure out how good this setup really is. So my biggest concern with this particular team is staying on the front foot, really, because I do think there might be a slight weakness at the back, just a little bit defensively. We'll see how that works. If it really becomes a problem, I can always drop one of these midfield free, excuse me, back into the holding role a little bit and drop the attacking midfield back as well. So there's lots that we can do, but for now, we'll see whether this works. So for the first time out, you and I are going to get used to some of these players together, but the first team that we're putting out for the game against Liverpool in the Premier League is Lafont in goal, and Ben Abid at right back, Tierney at left back, Franco and Leiva in central defence, Pobega, Gavi and Bayens in central midfield, Saka on the right, Arobio on the left, who's a youngster in replacement of McNeil, and Martinez up top, and a 9-man bench in the Premier League, all ready and raring to go should we need them. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So, considering that we're away from home against a tricky opponent in Liverpool in this first game of the new Premier League campaign with a new team, I haven't gone overboard with the actual team talk. Hands together as the gesture, and just said there, go out and impress me. Give them some opportunity to see how we go. The build up to this, the pre-season games have gone pretty well. We will now see how this translates into a Premier League football match against a very tricky opponent. So inwards we go. We'll see that we are coming up against a 4-2-3-1 as well. They've got some interesting players, and one thing that we should immediately be worried about is that their striker is Dane Scarlett. They've bought him from my own old side, Watford, and they are going to absolutely bring him back to haunt me this time round, aren't they? It's bound to happen. It always does. You watch out for Scarlett getting a goal against us in this particular fixture, but that's a little bit painful, I would suggest, for me, unfortunately. It's a shame that he also moved on from Watford, because we had him doing quite some good stuff there as well. But obviously he went on to bigger and better things in theory with Liverpool, basically just as like I have potentially with Arsenal. We'll see. First highlight of the game for us, though, which is good. Left-hand side from a throw-in from Tierney, building up the team, the play quite successfully. Switched it over to the right-hand side for Saka. Holds up the play for Benabid. He's going to be hopefully really important for us down that right-hand side, getting up and down that pitch and supporting the play, Benabid. Obviously, one of our star players in terms of the star ratings. Scarlett wins the ball back for Liverpool, though. Cross comes in. And the goalkeeper comes out and absolutely flaps at it and doesn't get there. It was all there for him. It was a clear opportunity for the goalkeeper, mostly. I don't think he was impeded by much. Simpson down the right-hand side, holds up the play, sweeps the ball in. Goalkeeper comes out and just misses it. Gets his angles completely wrong, under no pressure whatsoever. Fortunately, it's not Scarlett that puts it in the back of the net, but even so, it's Marcus Paulo, and Liverpool go 1-0 up after 16 minutes on the game. It's a shame, because we just developed our first opportunity ourselves to have a go and see where it takes us. And at the moment, unfortunately, where it's taken us, 35 minutes in, is 1-0 down. Really kind of struggling a little bit to get our shots away. 2 shots at goal, none on target. Good enough possession, nearly 60% on that one, so that's good. But it's about the actual impact that that's having on a game. Currently, we're playing in a balanced mentality. We might shift that up to positive for this second half and see if that just pushes us towards a more interesting second half performance. So we'll do that. We'll go into the dressing room. We're not going to dig them out too much. It's the first game. We can't go too quickly at them. So we'll just go, let's go hands on hips. And we'll say, time for everyone to dig in. Why not? Let's go with that one. And then we'll straight away go into the shouts and demand more from them. We have moved up into the positive mentality. Can that get us on the front foot? And after a couple of opportunities ourselves, we'll see. Liverpool have got a decent setup, haven't they? You know, they've taken Scarlett off and brought Hernandez on. Now, Hernandez is another former Watford player who I sold very early on in my Watford time, so that won't be any better for us. And Liverpool do intercept our chance down the left-hand side. They've worked it nicely to maintain possession and build themselves up. Pobega tries to get in there and does a decent job of unsettling them a little bit, but they do win the loose possession again, and they put the ball through, and Cucho is Hernandez, and again the goalkeeper absolutely messes up. Had everything he needed just to gather that ball and took it over the byline in the end for a corner, and we're lucky that on the first occasion we can get rid of it, but the cross will come back in again. Oh no, it doesn't. Good challenge in the end out there by one of our younger players, Arobio, who eventually gets it out of play. But twice now, goalkeeper not looking as secure as he should do. At the age that he's at, he's got a lot of experience and he should be doing better than he has, really. Seemingly, there are players in front of him doing even worse. I'm not so sure about that, but at the moment they are. 6.5 for our star man at right back. We've got 6.4 for Bayans, who we obviously looked at before the game. 6.4 for Martinez up front as well. Lots of problems for us to sort out, unfortunately, at the moment, and we can't necessarily do all of them. I'm not sure whether it's 3 or 5 substitutes, so we'll make 3 key ones, and then we'll see if we can make any more after that point. So we're going to take Martinez out, hasn't been in the game at all. Going to bring the youngster in for a debut early on and see what happens with him. What have we got on the bench? Cleverly, is that our attacking option? It is. So I bought this guy in, Jeff Cleverly. Again, not a complete player, but English, 26 years old. It was important to get some English talent in. And 17 long shots. We're going to play him as that rotating option in that attacking midfield position and see if he can get anything from being there. So that's one that we are going to do. We're going to leave the right back on because I just want to give him some game time for now, see if we can get a better performance out of him. Gavi also looking a little bit disappointing in central midfield, but also Arobio, who we haven't got the direct replacement for, although we could put Damsgaard out there or Saka. So what we are going to do is actually take out the youngster, put Damsgaard in. We didn't really talk too much about him. He's going to be a right-sided rotating option a little bit. So that means that what we're going to do is switch Bukayo Saka down to the left-hand side, bring Damsgaard on the right. So those are the three that I want to make. If I can change Gavi out, I will. So we'll bring De Souter in if they'll let me. Nope, it's 3, not 5 substitutions. That's fine, not a problem at all. So now we know, and back into the game we go. I feel like we've had a couple of chances in the second half, so potentially I just want to keep it as we are for now, but we are going to go into the shouts and fire them up for the last little while. This was always going to be a tricky first fixture for us, but we're not too bad at the moment, 1-0 down. There's still a chance in here for us. Franco to Saka. Can he get the ball in? He does with Damsgaard. Gets it back again. And there's a chance there, and we can't quite pull the trigger on it, but we've kept the ball well down the left-hand side, cleverly on the ball again. Drops it into Gavi. Tried to get the cross in. Gets it back again, though. Pabega. And it was not really the person you want on the long shot, was it? Particularly one of our more defensive-minded midfielders, unfortunately. But some good build-up play. And that's the way we've asked them to play just at the moment. Short, sharp passing, pushing the boundaries of that vertical tiki-taka a little bit and seeing where it will take us. Today, where it's taken us is a 1-0 defeat for a team that are just getting used to each other, probably in a brand new system for them as well. Brand new manager, obviously asking for ideas. What we had was a good performance from two that we weren't totally sure about before the game. Our two central defenders, Leva and Franco, 7.0 and a 7.4 for those two, played pretty well in keeping Liverpool at bay most of the time. The rest of the team moving forward into that sort of final third, we might need to do a little bit of work on. Just for today, it didn't really work. Came away with a 1-0 defeat. Big picture, that's not too bad. Now we need to find a way to get on the score sheet a little bit and get some points on the board as the next few games come about. So it's worth pointing out that there were 3 or 4 debuts in that match. As I say, new system, new tactical style, new manager getting used to new players. It's always going to take a little bit of a moment. It's unfortunate that we came up against such a good side in our opening fixture. We'll talk about what's coming up next in a second. Just one thing that I forgot to let you know beforehand is it's not just the playing staff that I have updated. I've gone in and rejigged this, not the playing staff, the staff. I don't know what I was going to say. It's fine. We've still got some work to do. And there are many transfer targets that I've already lined up that are potentially going to fill these gaps up a little bit and increase this. But it's a work in progress at the moment that I will fill up and will absolutely get better as the next couple of weeks go through. So let's go into that schedule and just see what we've got coming up. We've played that Liverpool match. Hopefully there's some points coming up for us, although it does look to be a fairly tricky start in the next couple of months. If you look at it, Wolves were in that top 4 or 5, remember, in the Premier League rankings for this season. So we got them, we got Newcastle, Tottenham coming up, Old Team Watford, then Man United, Chelsea, Man City, Leicester, Villa, all in the next month or so, or 2, should I say. So it's a tricky start. After that, there is a period of games, November, December, where we really need to be absolutely at our best. Burnley, West Ham, Southampton, Fulham, Forest, Everton, Sheffield United, Brentford, Brighton. That kind of run is pretty decent for us. Can we get through this next month and a half with a few good wins here and there? We're looking at the likes of Newcastle in the next game, Watford coming up. One of the bigger sides, Tottenham have dropped off a little bit. Can we win the North London derby against them? Those kinds of results are going to be important for how we start really as a squad moving forward. You can see that the friendly matches were reasonably good beforehand, so we've done okay building to this point. I came in just before the Ajax game, so I haven't had long to reshape this squad. But now we need to go and find some points. Hopefully we can do that. What we're coming back for next episode, we're going to go through the remainder of August and September. We're going to come back, you and I, for the Chelsea game. Another away game against a London side. Play a few of these London derbies and see where we're at that point. There'll also be a Carabao Cup game in there somewhere as well. But Chelsea next up for us. Again, pretty difficult. And we'll probably play Southampton in the episode after that as we move through. And then see where we're at after that. So there's plenty coming up. But for now, we need some points on the board. Let's see if we can go and get them. You'll have to come back next episode to find out. And then we'll play that Chelsea game. I'll update you on everything that goes on. Obviously, the transfer window hasn't closed either yet. So we still could do some more business in that. So come back next episode. I'll update you on all of that. Today, a little bit of a disappointing start. But we're up and running with a brand new squad, brand new club. And let's see how we get on. So that'll do it. Thank you for joining me. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button on this particular episode. That will help me get seen by others. Until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.